I'm gonna take a sentimental journey. I'm gonna set my heart at ease. I'm gonna make a sentimental journey to renew old memories. I've got my bag, I've got my reservation. I've spent each dime I could afford, just like a child with wild anticipation. I long to hear that all aboard. At 7, that's the time we leave at 7. And I'll be waiting up for heaven, just counting every mile of railroad track that takes me back. I never thought that my heart would be so yearning. Why did I decide to roam? I'm gonna take a sentimental journey, a sentimental journey home. At 7, that's the time we leave at 7. And I'll be waiting up for heaven, just counting every mile of railroad track that takes me back. I never thought that my heart would be so yearning. Why did I decide to roam? I'm gonna take a sentimental journey, a sentimental journey home. Hello, everybody. Greetings. Thank you for joining me on this celebration of the Great American Big Band. My name is Brian Kane. It's going to be my pleasure this month to play for you music from what's known as the Big Band era. The Big Band era is one of my absolute favorite periods of American history. It was incredibly vibrant. There were over 370 full-time performing big bands in the United States between 1935 and 1946. And the most amazing part of that for me is the fact that that was 10,000 full-time musicians who were employed. It never happened since. It's a remarkable thing. The music was varied and diverse. And I wish I could play it all for you, but I'm limited to an hour today. So I'm going to try to play some of the big groups of that period. And I'm going to start with the guy who they say kicked it all off. Most historians agree that the big band era started on one particular evening at Carnegie Hall with the great musician Benny Goodman. Now, Benny was a clarinet player, and his audiences were teenagers at the time, and they went mad when Benny started to play at Carnegie Hall. They actually tore the place up, and it was the first time the teenagers had their say in American swing music, and they said they liked it. That's what they said. I want to play a Benny Goodman tune right now. Now, of course, Benny Goodman played clarinet. I'm going to play it on saxophone. But this was the tune that set the teenagers wild and set the stage for the next 10 years of the big band era. It's called Swing, Swing, Swing. Sing, sing, sing. Ha! Benny Goodman. Now, this little instrument takes a lot of gas to play, so I'm going to catch my breath for a second, grab my other saxophone, be right back. Benny Goodman was a remarkably talented musician. He was one of the band leaders who wrote his own music. You can always tell a Benny Goodman song. He was classically trained, and his music twists and turns in ways that other composers, maybe they don't twist and turn him. This next one is one of my favorite Benny Goodman compositions. He opened maybe 1,000 shows with this song, him playing it on clarinet. I wonder if you'll recognize the melody. It's called Baby, Don't Be That Way. Don't cry, oh honey, please don't be that way. Clouds in the sky should never make you feel that way. The rain will bring the violets of May. Tears are in vain, oh honey, please don't be that way. As long as we both see this through, baby, you have me, and honey, I have you. Sweetheart, tomorrow is another day. Don't break my heart, oh honey, please don't be that way. As long as we both see this through, baby, you have me, and honey, I have you. Sweetheart, tomorrow is another day. So don't break my heart, oh honey, please don't be that way. Sweetheart, tomorrow is another day. Don't break my heart, oh honey, please don't be that way. You can kind of tell a Benny Goodman song by the way it twists and turns. And Benny Goodman's band was the place to be in the 1930s, that's for sure. I'm going to name some names that might be familiar to you. Here's a few. Buddy Rich, Gene Krupa, Harry James, Glenn Miller, Tommy Dorsey, Jimmy Dorsey, Artie Shaw. You know what they all had in common? They all played in Benny Goodman's band at one time or another. It was sort of like a training ground for the greatest musicians still to come in American history. And at one point in the mid-1930s, right around 35, even the biggest name in the world joined the Benny Goodman Orchestra. The fabulous Bing Crosby joined the Benny Goodman Orchestra for a series of radio broadcasts that went nationwide for about 6 months. They played together every week or 2 times a week, I think it was. And Bing Crosby brought a whole new sound to the Benny Goodman Orchestra. This is my favorite song that Bing sang with Benny Goodman. I love this tune. It's an old Cole Porter tune. It's called Begin the Begin. When they begin the beginning, it brings back the sound of music so tender. It brings back the nights of tropical splendor. It brings back the memory evergreen. I'm with you once more under the stars, and down by the shore there's an orchestra playing, and even the palms, they seem to be swaying when they begin the begin. To live it again, oh, that's past all endeavor, except when that tune, oh, it touches my heart. And there we are, swearing love forever, and promising never, never to part. What moment divine, oh, what rapture serene, when the clouds came along and dispersed the joys we had tasted. And now, when I hear people curse the chance that was wasted, I know all too well what they mean. So don't let them begin the begin. Let the love that was once a fire remain an ember. Let it sleep like the dead desires I only remember when they begin the begin. Oh yes, make them begin the begin, make them play till the stars that were there before all return above you, till you whisper to me once more, my darling, I love you, and suddenly know what heaven we're in when they begin the begin. When they begin the begin, they'll begin the begin, they'll begin the begin. Benny Goodman wasn't alone during the big band era. He just happened to be the first most popular band, but there were other bands that followed shortly after him and joined with him at that same time. None better than the great Duke Ellington Orchestra. Now, Duke Ellington may be the greatest national treasure in American history. He composed over 1,700 original compositions, orchestrations, and pop songs of his day. And he was an absolute genius. There's absolutely no one questioning that. He could write words and he could write music. And I want to play a couple of Duke Ellington songs that kept people dancing during the big band era. This is one of my favorite ones. It's about, maybe thinking you might be in love with someone, but you're not quite sure. This one's called I'm Beginning to See the Light. I never cared much for moonlit skies. I never winked back at fireflies. But now that the stars are in your eyes, I'm beginning to see the light. I never went in for afterglow or candlelight on the mistletoe. But now when you turn that lamp down low, I'm beginning to see the light. I used to ramble through the park, shadow boxing in the dark. Then you came, caused a spark that's for a long fire now. I never made love by lantern shine. I never saw rainbows in my wine. But now that your lips are burning mine, I'm beginning to see the light. I'm beginning to see the light. I'm beginning to see the light. I never cared much for moonlit skies. I never winked back at fireflies. But now that the stars are in your eyes, I'm beginning to see the light. I never went in for afterglow or candlelight on the mistletoe. But now when you turn that lamp down low, I'm beginning to see the light. I used to ramble through the park, shadow boxing in the dark. Then you came, caused a spark that's for a long fire now. I never made love by lantern shine. I never saw rainbows in my wine. But now that your lips are burning mine, I'm beginning to see the light. I'm beginning to see the light. I'm beginning to see the light. Duke Ellington. Now, Duke Ellington was a prolific writer. He was a fabulous writer. Sometimes he got it all right, and sometimes people helped him make it a little bit better. In 1937, he wrote this song called Never No Lament. It was a beautiful little melody. It was catchy. He thought it was going to be a big hit, but it wasn't a big hit, and he was disappointed in that because he thought it was one of the prettiest melodies that he ever wrote. But Duke was a smart guy, and he knew sometimes he couldn't do it all. So in 1942, he hired a couple of lyricists to add words to this beautiful old melody called Never No Lament, and overnight that song vanished from American history, and this new song was born with words. Won the Academy Award in 1943 for Best Song in a Motion Picture. This one's called I Don't Get Around Much Anymore. Mr. Saturday Dance, heard they crowded the floor. I couldn't bear it without you. I don't get around much anymore. Thought I'd visit the club. I got as far as the door. They'd have asked me about you. I don't get around much anymore. Oh, my darling, I guess that my mind is more at ease. But nevertheless, oh, I stir up the memories. I've been invited on this. I might have gone, but what for? It's awfully different without you. I don't get around much anymore. Oh, my darling, I guess that my mind is more at ease. But nevertheless, oh, I stir up the memories. I've been invited on dates. I might have gone, but what for? It's awfully different without you. I don't get around much anymore. Duke Ellington. Now, Duke Ellington, when you're a genius like Duke Ellington, sometimes lightning strikes and you get the inspiration and the idea to create something beautiful very quickly. And this next song is a perfect example of that. We know the history of this song. I believe you can still see it in the Smithsonian in Washington. 1935, Duke Ellington was playing in around the Chicago area, and he gave the band a break for 5 minutes to, go have a smoke or get a drink or whatever they needed to do. And while the band was on break, on the back of a napkin, he jotted down this next song in 5 minutes flat. Truly inspired playing, too. When the band came back from their break, he had them all crowd around his piano and play it for the very first time. The best part of the song is he titled it. It's called "It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing." Now, this song is an idiom in itself because it's the very first time that the word swing was ever used in relationship to music. And it was done in 5 minutes flat with Duke Ellington in this song. Not only did he swing his way through the era, but he also coined the term. Don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Do-wop, 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 do-wop. It don't mean a thing, all you've got to do is swing. Do-wop, 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 do-wop. Well, it makes no difference if it's sweet or hot. You just give the rhythm everything you've got. Well, it don't mean a thing. All you've got to do is swing. Do-wop, 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 do-wop. if it ain't got that swing. Do-wop, 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 do-wop. It don't mean a thing, all you've got to do is swing. Do-wop, 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 do-wop. Well, it makes no difference if it's sweet or hot. You just give the rhythm everything you've got. Well, it don't mean a thing, all you've got to do is swing. Do-wop, 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 do-wop. It's Duke Ellington. Now, I could play Duke Ellington all day, but remember, there's 370 big bands in this era, all with a different sound and a different style, and a different audience, too, truthfully. One of the great bands was led by two brothers, which is amazing, actually, both incredibly talented musicians. One played trombone, and one played saxophone like me. Their names are Tommy and Jimmy Dorsey. And though they didn't write their own music, they led successful bands and employed songwriters who wrote some of the best songs in American history. And Tommy Dorsey is a real character. He was the guy who came up with the idea originally of having a theme song, a song that one band alone would play that identified the band to the public. And Tommy Dorsey and his trombone maybe had the prettiest theme song of all. I'm going to play it for you right now. They say in all of American history, this song may have kindled more romances and marriages than any other song, as the teenagers who were dancing at this era slow danced and maybe liked what they felt a little bit. This one's called I'm Getting Sentimental Over You. Never thought I'd fall, but now I hear you call. I'm getting sentimental over you. All the things I say and do just thrill me through and through. I'm getting sentimental over you. I thought I was happy, thought I could live without love. And now I must admit, love is all that I'm thinking of. Won't you please be kind and just make up your mind that you'll be sweet and gentle. You'll be gentle with me because I'm sentimental over you. Now, Tommy Dorsey would start shows like that. He'd get all the teenagers slow dancing a little bit, but he knew to keep them, he had to play up-tempo music too. And I'm a bit of a historian, and I was surprised when I found out that this next song is the third most popular song played by Tommy Dorsey, meaning that he played it over the 18-year career the most. He performed this song over 3,000 times in that 18-year career. And it's an old one. It's an old tune that doesn't get played much anymore, and I'm going to play it for you right now. It was apparently very popular back then. It's a tune called Ain't She Sweet. Well, ain't she sweet? See her coming down the street. Now I ask you very confidentially, ain't she sweet? Well, ain't she nice? Look her over once or twice. Now I ask you very confidentially, ain't she nice? Just cast an eye in her direction. Oh me, oh my, ain't that perfection? Well, I repeat, don't think that it's kind of neat. Now I ask you very confidentially, ain't she sweet? Well, ain't she sweet? See her coming down the street. Now I ask you very confidentially, ain't she sweet? Well, ain't she nice? Look her over once or twice. Now I ask you very confidentially, ain't she nice? Just cast an eye in her direction. Oh me, oh my, ain't that perfection? Well, I repeat, don't you think that it's kind of neat? Now I ask you very confidentially, ain't she sweet? The Dorsey brothers made a really great business decision in 1940, one that really put them on top of the world. Tommy Dorsey was smart enough to recognize that a friend of his named Harry James had hired this great singer, found this kid out of the middle of nowhere in Hoboken, New Jersey, put him on a contract, and Tommy Dorsey decided to buy that contract from Harry James and became the second employer of a very young 19-year-old Frank Sinatra for the princely sum of $200 a week. For life. It's a great contract story I'll tell sometime for you. Now, Frank was a skinny little kid from Hoboken. You know, it's impossible. People, when they think of Frank Sinatra, they think of big tough guy. But when he was 18 years old, he was far from it. He was 5'5", and he weighed, are you ready for this? He weighed 93 pounds. Now, that's like my right leg, basically, right here. And the first reviews described him as a microphone stand dressed in a suit until he started to sing. And then his voice filled up the entire room, and everyone just couldn't believe what they were hearing. Tommy Dorsey knew talent when he saw it, And he immediately put Sinatra in the studio. This is the first song they recorded. I hope you enjoy this one. It's called I'm Gonna Sit Right Down and Write Myself a Letter. Gonna sit right down and write myself a letter. I make believe that it came from you. I'm gonna write words oh so sweet. They're gonna knock me off of my feet. And with kisses on the bottom, I'll be glad I got 'em. Gonna smile and say, I hope you're feeling better. Then I'll close with love the way that you do. 'Cause I'm gonna sit right down and write myself a letter. And I'll make believe that it came from you. Gonna smile and say, I hope you're feeling better. Then I'll close with love the way that you do. 'Cause I'm gonna sit right down and write myself a letter. And I'll make believe that it came, though I know it's not the same. I'll make believe it came from you. When Frank Sinatra joined the Tommy Dorsey Orchestra, Jimmy Dorsey, Tommy's brother, decided to go do his own thing. And for a couple of years, he led his own band that was very, very successful. And Tommy and Jimmy Dorsey were very competitive with each other, as brothers often are. Jimmy Dorsey went to the ends of the earth to outdo his brother. And literally, on a tour of South America and Mexico that he was doing, he noticed people were doing this new kind of dance that he hadn't seen before. It's called the cha-cha. And Jimmy Dorsey was thinking, hey, I think I know some Americans who might like doing this little cha-cha thing. If I can bring it back to the U.S., it might be a hit for me. Boy, was he right. Let me tell you, the cha-cha was one of the biggest dance sensations of the next 15 years. And I remember this one very well. I think you're going to remember it too. It was the tune Tommy Dorsey brought back with him from Mexico in 1941. It's called Bésame Mucho. As great as the Dorseys were, they weren't the top band of the day, not even close. The top band was led by another guy who, of all things, played the trombone. His name was Glenn Miller, who wore glasses like me. And people forget that Glenn Miller had two bands that didn't make any money and made him bankrupt before he had the third band, which was finally successful. And I look forward to telling you the story of how this all happened in a second. But I'm going to warm up here from Glenn Miller with a tune that I love for them. It was a tune they recorded early in their career in 1938. It's about a place they used to play, a little club in Birmingham, Alabama, where they used to play, a little barn, basically, called Tuxedo Junction. Down south, near Birmingham, way down south in Alabama, there's a place where the people go to dance the night away. They all drive or they walk for miles to get jive. Well, that southern style, that old jive, that makes me want to dance till the break of day. 'Cause it's a junction where all those town folk meet, and at each function, in a tux, they greet you. Come on down, you can't forget your cares. Come on down, yes, you'll find me there. Come on down, 'cause I'm waiting for Tuxedo Junction now. It's a junction where all those town folk meet, and at each function, in a tux, they greet you. Come on down, you can't forget your cares. Come on down, yes, you'll find me there. Come on down, 'cause I'm heading for Tuxedo Junction now. So the year is 1937, and Glenn Miller has had two bands that have gone out of business because they weren't popular. And he was this close to becoming a life insurance salesman. He actually had a job lined up when he got a call from a club in Boston, Massachusetts called the Paramount, my hometown, Boston. And they offered him a 2-week run with a new band to give him a shot. And Glenn Miller jumped at the chance. He hired new arrangers. He got a new sound sort of for the band that he was looking for, and he brought in some new personnel, people he hadn't ever worked with before. And everything was on track. Everything was sounding great until opening night when the lead singer got pneumonia, couldn't sing. It was February in Boston. What do you expect? Well, Glenn had a meeting with the band because he didn't have enough money to hire a new lead singer. So he put the band out in front of him and he said, "Guys, I need someone to volunteer to be the singer tonight or we're through." The gig's going to be canceled. I need someone to step up and do it. And nobody raised their hand. So Glenn Miller, in one of the great fates of luck, pointed to the new kid in the band who has his 19-year-old saxophonist by the name of Tex Beneke. First gig outside of Texas was this one in Boston. And he said, "Kid, you're singing tonight." And Tex Beneke looked at him and said, "Mr. Miller, I've never sung a song in my whole life." And Glenn Miller said, "Well, you got 3 hours. For all of our sakes, I hope you learn fast." Tex Beneke, he learned fast. Here's one of them. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I've got a guy in Kalamazoo. I don't want to boast, but I know she's the toast. Kalamazoo, zoo, 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 zoo. Years have gone by, my, how she grew. I like her looks when I copied her books. Kalamazoo, zoo, 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 zoo. I'm gonna send a wire, hopping on a flyer, leaving today. Am I really dreaming? I can hear you screaming. Hey, Mr. Jackson, everything's okay. A-L-A-M-A-Z-O-O. What a guy, a real pipperoo. I'll make my bid for that freckle-faced kid, Oriental. I'm going to Michigan to see the sweetest guy, Kalamazoo. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I've got a guy in Kalamazoo. I don't want to boast, but I know she's the toast. Kalamazoo. I'm going to Michigan to see the sweetest guy, Kalamazoo. Tex Beneke became the voice of the Glenn Miller Orchestra, and he put out some fabulous songs along with Glenn Miller, making them the top band of the entire swing period. They were only together for 8 years, but they had 37 #1 hits in 8 years. It's absolutely astounding. Here's another you might know. This one's called the Chattanooga Choo-Choo. Pardon me, sir, is that the Chattanooga Choo-Choo? It's track 29. Hey, could you give me a shot? 'Cause I can afford to board the Chattanooga Choo-Choo. Yes, I've got my fare, and just a trifle to spare. You leave the Pennsylvania station round 3:45. You read a magazine and then you're in Baltimore. Dinner in the diner, nothing could be finer than to have your ham and eggs in Carolina. When you hear the whistle going 8 to the bar, then you know that Tennessee is not very far. Shovel all the coal in, you've got to keep it rolling. Woo, woo, Chattanooga, there you are. There's gonna be a certain party at the station, all satin and lace. I used to call Funny Face, and she's gonna cry until I tell her that I'll never roam. Oh, Chattanooga choo-choo, won't you choo-choo me home? gonna be a certain party at the station, all satin and lace. I used to call Funny Face, and she's gonna cry until I tell her that I'll never roam. Oh, Chattanooga choo-choo, won't you choo-choo me home? Glenn Miller was an enormous patriot in American history. You know, in 1943, he was the most popular entertainer in the world. He was making over $1 million a year touring with his band. And he wanted to join the Army, even though he wanted to join the Navy, even though he was only over 48 years old at the time. Now, the Navy turned him down. They said, "We have no use for a trombone player who's 48 years old on a ship." He was upset about that, but he kept trying. He contacted the Army, and the Army, with a little bit of vision, said, "You know, we can use you." And at the peak of his career, Glenn Miller gave it all up. He disbanded the orchestra and joined the U.S. Army, which is an absolutely remarkable thing. You got to remember, this is a period before there were royalties. They didn't even exist. So if you weren't out playing, you weren't making any money. Glenn Miller decided to have one last big hurrah tour before he actually showed up for basic training, which I think they made a little easier for him since he was 48. Now, on this last hurrah tour, there's been nothing like it that I can think of in history. He had himself, the Andrews Sisters, one of his great singing acts that they were friends. Tex Beneke was there, and a couple of other groups joined them. And the tour went on for 6 months. It started in New York, and it went all the way to California. They played 6 shows every single day, 7 days a week, for 6 months, selling out 1,000 to 2,000 seat venues 6 times in the same day, all the way across the United States. It's a remarkable thing back then. The people needed to dance just that much. Now, one of the songs that came out of this last tour is an old tune. Glenn Miller gets credit for having written it, but he didn't write it. It's actually from World War I. It's from 1915. But I think you're going to know his version very well with the Andrews Sisters. And I hope you enjoyed this show today. It's my pleasure to play the music of the big band, and I want to thank you so much for joining me today. This is going to be the last number that I play for you, and I hope I can see you again, either live, in person, or again on tape sometime soon. This one's called "Don't Sit Under the Apple Tree" with anyone else but me. First I wrote my mother, then I wrote my father, and now I'm writing you too. I'm sure of my mother, and I'm sure of my father, and now I'd like to be sure of you. So don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me, with anyone else but me, with anyone else but me. No, 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 don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me till I come marching home. Don't go walking down Lover's Lane with anyone else but me, with anyone else but me, with anyone else but me. No, 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 don't go walking down Lover's Lane with anyone else but me till I come marching home. I just got word from the guy who heard from the guy next door to me. He met a girl that likes to pet and it suits him to a T. So don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me till I come marching home. sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me, with anyone else but me, with anyone else but me. No, 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 don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me till I come marching home. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate it.
WCTV, connecting our community. WCTV, connecting our community. Ellington, Massachusetts.